You don't have to coordinate the arms and legs together. You just have to connect the body together. Hi, I'm Grant Kleiman from Darsana Martial Arts. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you'd like to support us or join our online academy, there are links in the description. All right, let's get to the lesson. A common challenge for many Tai Chi students is the coordination of the limbs. Many find it hard enough to get the two arms to work together in unison, but then when the legs are added, to get the arms and legs to work together in the appropriate timing can often prove very difficult for many Tai Chi students. In my opinion, this issue arises particularly because the student is thinking of the limbs as separate parts of the body that then have to be coordinated together in timing. As long as you view the body in that way, coordination is always going to be a challenge. Not only will you have to coordinate the limbs, but as you advance, there will be more moving parts within the body that you'll be trying to get to work together. And adding more and more makes the problem that much more difficult. The key to the grace and fluidity of Tai Chi is that the entire body is treated as a single unified whole. And one of the focal points that we can use to help to create that condition is to tie the limbs to the center. Tie them to the dantian region below the navel in the low abdomen and pelvic basin. So when we move the arms, we don't move from the arms. We move from the dantian, we move from this central core part of the body. So when we rotate, folding one claw, the arms are moved. Rotate, folding the other claw, the arms are moved. There's much more to it, but all of that ultimately happens through alignment and release. And so with alignment and release, the rotation of the body will create the exchange of forces that needs to happen in order to get the limbs moving. So one way to practice this is to start out by just holding the arms in front of you, open the Lao Gong points, have them facing each other, sink the shoulders and elbows, and imagine perhaps that I'm holding something, or even get an object. It can be any object, because the point of the object is just to keep the arms out there in front of you and to be able to tell whether or not you've moved them from side to side. Then after checking your alignment, you begin to simply rotate the body by folding one claw, and then folding the other claw. Careful not to let the knees buckle in. This is a simple exercise to establish that the arms are not moved by themselves, but by the dantian. If the alignment is correct and you are sung, you're open and releasing, then the sinking from one foot to another will happen by virtue of the rotation. Not only in this exercise will you be establishing how the rotation of the waist or dantian is moving the arms, but also that it facilitates or even generates the exchange of forces to and from the floor in the legs. Ultimately, that exchange of forces is going to reach the arms. What the arms do when they do start to activate is express the force of the rotation and the exchange of sinking and rising between the two sides of the body. So I'm not using the arms to move the arms. I'm using the rotation of the dantian and the exchange of force and weight up and down to and from the ground. This already establishes on some level the way in which the center is going to move the legs. Because if I continue to rotate, I empty more and more from, in this case, my right leg, as I fill more and more into the other. And if I do that enough, that leg becomes completely free, completely empty, and then mobilized by the center. So when I want to step, I don't reach out the foot using the leg. I reach out the foot by rotating the dantian and letting gravity, under my intention, extend through the leg and touch the ground. Then, when I want to exchange the weight, I don't even drive off of this leg. I just open and sink, rotate the dantian, and that will change or exchange the weight based on the way I've set the foot down. So now as I turn more, my weight is sunk down into the right leg. I can sink it even further as I turn back the other way to empty this leg. So the coordination of the arms and the legs is the connection of the limbs to the dantian, to the center of the body. A couple of good exercises are stepping forward and backward with rolling arms. Turn the left foot out about 30 to 45 degrees. Depends on you, depends on what you need to open. Sink, turn, let that move the arms. Empty the other leg, and don't reach out with the leg, but just turn a little further and let the force extend from the center out to the leg, placing it with intent. And then turn. Let that exchange the weight as you open and sink, feeling it fill down through the forward leg, empty out through the rear leg as you continue to rotate. And it's that rotation that will ultimately draw the force up out of the foot to draw it forward. And then from the center, letting gravity overtake that, step forward. So you see here that it's the rotation, moving the arms, moving the leg through the series of movement. We can go backwards. It's the same process. You don't have to coordinate the arms and legs together. You just have to connect the body together. And then you can move from the center to move the limbs. A mistake on the other side of the spectrum, however, is to make the body rigid through the effort of making it unified. The unification of the body is not done through tension or rigidity, but done actually through the opposite, through song, through opening and release. Think of it this way. Imagine that the different sections or parts of your body were made up of these water containers. When you have tension, those containers are separating all of the water, all of the mass of the body. When we song, when we open and release, it's like all those water containers essentially dissolve inside the larger total container of the body so that all of the water of the body becomes a single body of water. And then the mind interacting with that churns that water inside, and that is how the external body is then moved. So we don't want to do, for example, the rolling arm exercise like this. We don't want to become stiff and think that being stiff and kind of robotic is how we keep the body a unit. That's not what we mean. In the work of unifying the body, make sure that you understand that that's being done through release, so that the entire body becomes a single, let's say, fluid unit, rather than a single rigid unit.